Hi, this is Blain, Architect, Specification Writer. In this video I'm going to explain the specification I use on all projects, big and small. The preliminary section used in this video is a demonstration version. The latest version can be downloaded from our website blainspecifications.com.au. First though, please watch the Spec Writing Service Explained video for important detail about the specification and the service designed to make your work easier with less risk and more efficiency. We start with page 1, the table of contents. Here is the specification, a single Word document of 27 sections. Under this are appendix items, with some typical ones from the master. Then we have the revision table, with revision P, preliminary, followed later by revision T for tender, or whatever is required. Revision numbers show on each page footer, together with pages X of Y. Center footer is project name and number, matching drawing title block content. The header has your practice name on the left and section title on the right. Each specification has the same 27 sections. The only time it is less is perhaps for an interiors only project. Having the consistent 27 sections has two advantages. First is project to project familiarity. Second, when a section does not apply to a project, say demolition, that section stays and states simply that the work type is not applicable, enabling contractors to quickly know what is not in a project, avoiding them having to find this out by a process of analysis and deduction. The specification has full civil and structural detail if required. One of my first questions is, will this detail be specified here or in the consultant's documents? If the latter, our civil and structural steel sections remain and simply refer to the consultant's documents and specify some small architectural detail. The concrete, masonry and timberwork sections are architectural, so we'll have more detail, less the structural detail. Regarding section 27, services specifications are done by the consultants, and this section 27 refers to those documents and specifies some small architectural detail. The 27 sections are in material, not trade, groupings for efficiency. For example, section 13, roofing, specifies roofing but not insulation, which is in section 17. And section 6, external works, specifies amongst other things fencing but not gates, which are in the doors section. Gates are a type of door, and the doors section specifies all access systems. Cross-referencing between sections is excellent. A drawback to specifying, say, an insulation product in roofing is that we need to first include all the insulation backup detail and repeat this detail everywhere an insulation product is specified. It is better to specify things in one place only. Element-based spec sections, say petitions, are inefficient also, as petitions have masonry, concrete, linings, tiles, resilient finishes, waterproofing, glass, metal, timber framing, metal framing, skirtings, cornices, painting, and electrical and hydraulic services. Then, spec consistency would require a roof section and a floors section, and the range of possible materials and detail repetition becomes unmanageable. No general requirements section is used, as the preliminaries is sufficient. Some say general requirements is for subcontractor detail and preliminaries for head contractor detail, but this is rarely the case. A technical spec is needed by both contractors. Head contractor only detail is best in the general conditions of contract. A very important feature of this specification is the first three sections, preliminaries, fixing and sealing and metalwork, are common sections. No section can be read without them. Metalwork describes metals, metal finishes and fabrication, and things like balustrades are in section 21, fixtures, which has detail of mostly off-site fabricated items. The benefit of the three common sections is that they help achieve a concise spec, and no detail in these three sections is repeated elsewhere. The spec makes it clear these three sections are essential. Let's go now to roofing, as the first easy section to show how the technical sections work, and to show how reliance on the three common sections is communicated. The roofing section is a typical technical section. All technical sections have subsections general, materials, and finally execution at the end of the section, contributing to a clean and predictable specification system. Being predictable, general subsections throughout have these 5 clauses. Same clause numbering, titles, and leading sentences. Content is different. For example, roofing inspections differ from concrete inspections. Clause 1.2, reference documents, is the second place to look for an item. Most people first scan a section for an item. If the item is not found, clause 1.2 should find it for you. We see roof hatches are in doors section and insulation is in the insulation section, and so on. Remember, you're looking at my master and your spec will be fully edited to suit the project. So if things are not in the project, they are not in the spec. The technical sections rely on the three common sections: preliminaries, fixing and sealing, and metalwork. So the first line of cross-references is read with sections 1, 2 and 3 and all related sections. No related sections are nominated, as it is the contractor's job to find that. Now, materials always starts with clause 2.1 material common detail and always leads with read with sections 1, 2 and 3. This clause contains roofing material common detail, which is not repeated. Next clause 2.2 related specification detail occurs here throughout the spec and always says generally read material clauses with all related detail including the three common sections. Let's go now to the execution subsection. It is short and I'll explain why soon. So execution always starts with clause 3.1 execution common detail and always leads with read with sections 1, 2 and 3. That is the fourth and final reference to the three common sections. The execution subsection is short because it does not format execution clauses to mirror materials clauses. This interrupts reading. Also, materials and execution can't really be separated. Saying put this with that and fix with those still specifies materials. So specific material execution detail is put in the appropriate materials clause. Also, roofing materials are largely proprietary and the spec does not repeat manufacturer's recommendations. So the execution subsection is further shortened. Sections like concrete have longer execution subsections because there is no manufacturer recommendations. I will show now how materials clause incorporates execution detail. If we go up to flashings and cappings, it starts with extent, which is not always the case, but it is with flashings and cappings, as extent may not always be drawn. Extent is not used for roof sheeting, as that is obvious. It is used for things like waterproofing in section 12, extent being specified over hobs, under thresholds, up walls, and so on. Back to flashings and cappings. After extent we have the material detail, then at the end of the clause the execution type detail. That is a quick look at how a typical technical section works. I will now jump to the preliminary section to explain a few important things. This is page 1 of preliminaries. I could show many things, but as time is valuable, I'll show the basics of how well things work. Feel free to download the preliminary section master from our website, blainspecifications.com.au. The preliminaries subsections are unlike the technical sections. We have first the general subsection, then the site, then materials, then it goes on to building work subsection, finishing with submissions subsection at the end. My goal is a safe spec. Safety is considered in each word, but for one of the first main safety features is on page 1, clause documentation discrepancy. For the spec, there is a discrepancy. Where a discrepancy may occur, the first requirement is to notify, then identify the likely discrepancy, then give the default path. Another safety feature, clause 2.1 of the site, deals with discrepancy between site conditions and documents. First notify, then identify the discrepancy, then give the default path, which is to allow the site conditions. More safety features, going down to clause 3.1 of materials, a colour or finish may be omitted. So notify, then allow standard colour or finish, which deals with price. Then if the omission gets built, colour or finish is closest to matching that of the surrounding surface. The next paragraph following colour and finish relates to material unavailability. First notify, then relating to size, allow the next size up, then relating to material, allow to source a similar to alternative, all without contract variation. There are many other safety features in the spec. Another two quick examples are in section 18 linings. If ceiling lining framing is not documented, this does happen. First notify, then allow for a proprietary suspended ceiling system. Also, items to be architect confirmed on site, e.g. ceiling hatch locations, the contractor instigates this process by notifying for an instruction. Now back to page 1 of preliminaries, clause interpretation. This is vital, as defined words have important contractual meaning. It is specified here these definitions relate to the specification only, so drawings are unaffected. Defined words throughout the specification are italicized. This is critical. General conditions of contracts and the BCA use italicized defined words. Not doing it in a specification discriminates against the reader, including the architect, and also misses the opportunity for great accuracy. Moving on to some important defined words. Advice is written, not verbal. Consultant, a professional usually associated with the contract document drafting. Engineer is a contractor's engineer, say for roof truss design or civil works testing. Remember, drawings are unaffected by these definitions. Documents and drawings are contract documents only. Exposed to view is that visible at practical completion without disassembly, such as inside cabinets, which helps define extent of finishes. External, this definition helps things like defining what extent external mild steel to be hot dip galvanized, including under awnings and behind wet walls, such as brick veneer, back to the building paper. Notify and submit are the only words written in this font throughout the specification to stand out. You can see them here. Without this font, they are easy to miss. And these are super critical words. Provide is a contractor action. There are 20 actions specified here, so expectations are clear, and only one word, provide, is used to cover 20 actions. Similar to is the only way a manufacturer is specified. It is used only occasionally to define quality. Used for a material made by a number of manufacturers, e.g. plasterboard, reading similar to CSR Gyprock plasterboard. Equal to is not used, as it cannot be quantified and does not allow better quality. A similar to selection is one type of contractor selection. Contractor selections are specified in clause 3.3 and are a necessity. If you wish to keep tabs on contractor activity, clause 4.1 of the building work subsection, superintendent compliance requests, allows you to do this. The last definition to show is supply, which is often misinterpreted. Does it mean purchase? What happens after delivery? Related to supply, coming down to clause 3.5 of materials subsection, owner supplied items. This demonstrates the clarity in the specification. The owner purchases, delivers and unloads items, then the contractor inspects for defects, and if found, are the owner's responsibility. Thereafter, they are the contractor's responsibility. All things, big and small, need to be specified unambiguously. If the work is incorrect, the contractor fixes it. Ambiguity leads to a dispute. Simplicity is also vital. Coming back to the site subsection, an example in infrastructure and property specifies dilapidation reports. Some specifications have the architect, adjacent landowners and the contractor jointly inspecting for defects, finishing with a sign-off. This is a huge undertaking and needs to be simpler. In our spec, the contractor makes a record and any damage complaint is the contractor's responsibility if the report can't show otherwise. Now I know it may seem I'm skipping around. Don't forget this is an overview where I'm trying to show you some main points. You can always download the sample preliminaries from our website for closer inspection. Moving down to the building work subsection, clause 4.4, development approval conditions. DA conditions contain contractor's work which, if not documented, result in variation. The conditions often present work unclearly, so the most effective way is the architect identifies, with a pen on the DA condition, the contractor's work. This is scanned as an electronic file and put in the appendix. Clause 4.6, contract alternatives. This has onerous requirements as alternatives should be minimized. A building design is deliberate, so an alternative must be legitimate. Finally, submissions. The last subsection in preliminaries deals with shop drawings, samples, warranties, and so on. Clause 5.2 and 5.3 of submission specifies collating two types of binder, thereby recording the work, and ordered same as the specification, with tab dividers. Warranties are specified in clause 5.8 and include standard manufacturer warranties. Increased warranty periods can be documented, but they are never a certainty and need the full prior cooperation of the manufacturer. This concludes the basic specification overview. This document, the specification, may finally be the answer you've been searching for. It can really add great value to your work. Specifications are complex, and when combined with inexperience or indifference, can result in disaster. This specification is likely the safest, most user-friendly, quickly produced, concise and cost-effective quality specification you would have come across. The value of a good spec is almost immeasurable, critical to project success, and a means to resolve virtually all common disputes. Thank you for watching this video. Please contact me anytime about your spec writing needs, or even to ask my advice about documentation, which I'm happy to freely give. Please call on 1300 799 258 or email me at greg@blainarchitect.com.au. If you want to start the spec, call or just email your drawings with an instruction to proceed. The terms and fees are in the spec writing agreement and fee graph at blainspecifications.com.au, or just ask and I can email a PDF copy to you. Of course, I would very much like to hear from you. Thank you and all the very best.